Hi guys, welcome to round 6 of the Hell Worlds Tournament series. And right again, we're going to be jumping straight into the game here. We have Bart Laju versus Gustav Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro and Zil. We know that Bart has been doing well all day today. Now, obviously, we won't be saying what deck he's playing, but have you heard of the other guy on the other side?
I think that's his name. I don't remember playing it. He's like a train deck, right?
No, I'm not sure. I've never heard of this guy,
Yep. I mean, if we
so I
just go
really
by
don't
his
know.
name, then train guy, right? Easy. OTKs.
Yeah, if we go by his name, he's just playing trains. So at the moment, we're just waiting for the match to start. There's a few minutes of downtime, and then we'll be jumping right into the game.
So far, we've seen a lot of crazy decks in this tournament. It is a free tournament, so that is something that we do have to keep in mind, is that anybody can join, but a lot of good players definitely join this. We did see two Burning Abyss, two Madolche, some Dino, a lot of rocks and Eldlich were to be expected. We figured that that was going to happen. It is the two best decks. All right, game is starting.
Yeah, there's been a lot of crazy stuff in this tournament, and it's really nice to see that the meta has developed in such a way. But let's see what these players are playing here, and we can see Bart is going first, and he's playing a 60 card deck, which is very interesting. So, from my understanding, at least from this format, the only 60 card deck is the Rokket FTK, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it would probably be some sort of a rocket deck, whether that's FDK or just like a normal rocket deck. It remains to be seen, but I do think it's definitely going to be something to do with rockets. Bart's going first.
Yeah, and we see the quick launch, obviously indicating that he's playing some sort of dragon deck. So the only question is what kind of combo is he playing, and just something we'll have to see. And yeah, we'll have to see if Gustav has the hand traps necessary to stop this deck.
Now, I do think that we only saw the end of one Rocket game from Tristan, but we haven't actually really gotten into a feature match with actual Rockets yet. So it'll be very interesting to see what people are playing for this event for sure.
That is correct. We had a feature match with Tristan where he was playing against Synchro Eldlich. And normal summoning the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. Now, I don't think that's very ideal, but seems like Bart has no other place here.
I mean, I guess whatever gets you to your engine gets you there. It'll still get him to his Romulus. It'll still get him to Fiber. It's not the most optimal at all, but because he had quick launch, kind of doesn't matter what he summons there, right?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. As long as he has extenders when Romulus resolves, he should be completely fine here.
Yeah, it'll definitely come down to what kind of hand traps Gustav has, if he has any hand traps. Um, so what kind of other combos have you seen other than the FTK coming from Rockets?
I've seen the Jumping Ju combo where he plays VFD, ends on VFD and a couple of negates. That's
Hmm.
really very interesting. He also uses the Trishula card. Now, I'm not quite sure if the Trishula card is legal for this tournament because I'm European and in Europe we don't have that card, but
Of
I do
course.
believe it is since this is a NA tournament. Something very interesting here to see is that Bart went for the Dragon Ravine because he opened the Dragonity Divine Lance, and this Divine Lance card is a new tech that has showed up in these Dragon decks as a way to get their tuner stuff. So that's really interesting to see and very innovative from the Dragon side.
I mean, look at the cards. Any card that you can summon from your deck is one card that you can consider you won't see a successful, let's say, Fiber. He, he hasn't Fire yet, but he's using it with markers combo, and he's using the phalanx to which is supposed to be divine land itself, and it make sure before you make like some really strong. We see a fight on you with this field, definitely he's going to be
Yeah, and he went for the with the fiber, he went for the Vion Cube here, which is something we haven't seen so far. And My only question is, what can he be getting from this Wild Cube? There's many really broken equip spell cards in this deck, so he could possibly be looking to get something like Smoke Grenade, so he can hand loop his opponent. But Vaya
Exactly what I figured.
is, yeah, yeah,
That's how they do it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Most likely, yeah, it's probably gonna be that.
so he
So
does a smoke grenade is a tech area that recently appeared on CG, and instead it came up in the Inferno deck.
yeah, and he just pops the Tracer, and he gets so many pluses. Basically, he can do whatever he wants to do with that card. It's just a
Smoke
free,
grenade,
yeah, it's just
smoke
free
grenade.
destruction.
um, okay, basically, this exchange, except for it's only for your opponent. You take out one of the cards in their hand, and you get to choose. So free
Yeah,
information on your opponent's hand loops, and discard. It's a wild card.
yeah, it's really, 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 really good. I agree, and it's a really nice deck choice for sure. So we're seeing full combo here from Bart most likely because his opponent hasn't opened any hand traps, or he's just really, really delaying them, which I think it's actually pretty good to delay them as much as possible because if you're just hand trapping at the start of the combo, the dragon deck has so many extenders to work with that they can just push through all of these hand traps. But if you're doing and sending and using hand traps when they're much further into the board development, it hurts them a lot more. So if Gustav is like holding all of his hand traps just for like a really specific choke point because he knows the deck, that could be a really, really heads up play for him.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just have to see what he makes here.
Yeah, and LP is resolving here. Now, I'm assuming he's going to summon Brotar or something along those lines. Most likely going to search either red metal or Levianeer. Okay, so he discards impermanence here. That's really interesting. So he does end up searching the Levianeer. So he's going to go for the hand loop. So he does have the smoke grenade and then the Levianeer. So his entire hand is basically public knowledge at this point. So Gustav does know what he's going up against. So now it's just a matter of what is Bart going to end on.
Yeah, and if you think that he had a hand trap by now, you think he probably would have used it. Now that the Herald's on the field, he's pretty much got free reign to do whatever he wants, right? As soon as that smoke grenade gets popped, it's going to be a hard game for Gustav to win.
Yeah, and not only that, he just gets to see his opponent's entire hand and he just play accordingly. There's not much Gustav or Gustav or whatever can do at that point. So now it's just a matter of what Bart feels like ending on, and probably we're probably looking at like an Appaloosa with a Savage or something along those lines. What do you think?
And starting with 4 cards in his hand is going to be very, very rough for Gustav as well. I think that yeah, Savage and Appaloosa seems like the play. He might go for something like the Unchained, but I don't think so. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Unchained monster has fallen out of favor, and I don't think that we'll be seeing it here. I think we're just going to see a simple Appaloosa plus Beastie combination, which will result in a Savage.
And after you hand loop with the smoke grenade and take out any potential problems that might hurt your board, it's going to be enough for sure. You don't even need to have that many counters on the Appaloosa for it to get in work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. The opponent is just yeah, your opponent is just playing with no cards in hand, and you can just work it out this way.
We do see a Boral Sword dropped here, so he may actually end up making a getting a rocket out from his deck as well, and that rocket will probably do something sniping his extra deck, I would assume.
That oral sword is really interesting. I'm not sure if they're going to use any sort of silver rocket strategy here because, well, just for the factor that there's no way to summon it back at this point. I think it's just to OTK easier next turn.
I think this was a very interesting Ash. He had Ash and he didn't use it in the beginning, which is very, very interesting.
It is a bit questionable indeed. I agree with that. So Bart did not manage to resolve the smoke grenade, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, it's a good thing that Bart won the game, but going into game two, he's going in blind. So Gustav has still the element of surprise on his opponent, and his opponent still doesn't know what he's playing.
Yeah,
So let's see.
I can definitely agree with that. I think that that was definitely a good play, scooping before the smoke grenade resolves. I think it's kind of like the mermail syndrome. If you know that they're about to take a they're about to use like minstrel or something and snipe a card out of your hand, you get that free info. A lot of times people will just quit because they know they're not going to win that game, and they just say, "Okay, well, if my opponent doesn't know my hand, they can't side for me properly. I have better chances going second."
Yeah, and I definitely agree. Basically, Bart is just going in blind, even though he won the game, still doesn't know what the side he has to assume. So let's see what Gustav is actually playing here, and this will be really, really, really interesting. So he does opt to go first. He's playing a 41 card deck, so could be a variation of Eldlich or Eldlich Synchro. We've seen plenty of those playing 41 these days. Let's see what he starts with.
And it looks like it is Eldlich of some sort. He is activating the Cursed Eldland here. I would assume he's going to add either a Conquistador or a Golden Lord. We'll just have to see what his hand is.
Yeah, and it seems to be the Eldritch deck, and yeah, I agree with that. It probably has to be either the Conquistador or the Golden Lord, depending on which one he drew in advance, because with Jet Synchron, yep, here we go. The Lord is very, very powerful with the new combo. You can basically play around Nibiru or one hand trap like it's nothing. So let's see if Gustav is playing the new combo or if he's opting to play something else.
We with these dream decks that they do actually play a lot of hand traps on, so it's completely possible that you may have a Nibiru or an App Blossom or an Impermanence.
Yeah, and everything is still on the table for Bart. We still don't know what kind of hand Bart opened. And the good thing about the Dragon deck is when you do the math behind it, how many hand traps it plays, it's really, really relevant. Because even in 40 cards, just the sheer amount of hand traps they play, it's still a very, very high chance that they can open those fat hand traps. So the deck going second is by no matters weak, and it can play, like being able to just consistently combo and play so many hand traps is what makes it really, really good in this format.
Agreed. And I feel like with the math behind it, it's amazing. Um, once the deck comes together, it's just great. He definitely has a chance to win the game, even through the fiber combo. We'll just have to see if each other.
Yeah, and here we see Gustav is not opting to go for the new combo. He's opting to go for the old combo with Outer Ordan. So this combo can be much harder punished by Nibiru, but seems like Bart indeed does not have the Nibiru, otherwise he would not allow the draw for Formula, and Gustav just gets to combo off for free here, basically. Does draw a card, and now here is the thing, like this combo can go multiple ways. He can either be making Metal Marcher, or he can be using Link Repo, and yeah, he does seem to be using the Link Repo. So I'm interested to see, is he going to draw cards or is he going to make VFD? Because from this point, it can split multiple ways. So here he's just probably just going to make Barricade Bow Blocker because it's the safe play. Really interested if he's going to use the effect or not. And yes, he does not use the effect. So he's just going to go for the Aurodon, trigger the Despot, and let's see if Bart has Nibiru here. And I hope he does, because this combo from here can just go anywhere.
Doesn't seem to have been beer here, otherwise would he use it already?
Yep, definitely does not seem like he has Nibiru. And he's just going to go for the standard play with Yo Lion. Now I'm interested to see if we're going to see Hyper Librarian, or if you're going to see just a standard Savage Herald, but abusing the one formula draw with the Despot. So let's see what our player decides to do here. Okay, so it will be just Savage Herald and getting a draw, which is quite fine. It's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that maybe it's not as powerful as you like X as the stuff you could do with Despot. Because if you're just going to go for one draw and play Despot, it's not really that good, considering that the new combo playing multiple low lines just plays around hand traps. So yeah, I'm not sure. But what do you think on that?
His line was definitely interesting. I feel he's much here. This is definitely the base combo. Like 50 or in the draw five. Using the player traps where you make hair early is a great question for sure.
Yeah, and making the Herald early is really, really valuable now that most of the hand traps and one of the best hand traps in the format is Effect Veiler. So being able to have that Herald early matters a lot. So he does end up sending the Eldland with the Lord, which is quite interesting. Maybe he's trying to get a elixir. I'm not so sure about that. I would always prioritize sending the Aurodon just to have the Eldland for the grand game, but we'll see what Gustav has in mind here. Definitely because he just hasn't triggered the barricade board. So there's no way to get that Eldland back. So let's see what he had in mind here.
If he didn't use the barricade board, you would assume that he has some good cards in his hand that he doesn't want to discard. So we'll definitely have to take a look at that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to take a look at that. And seems like his hand is two hand traps plus back row. Possible that he just didn't want to discard anything, but we'll have to see. Okay, so for Bard to break this board, it's actually easier than expected. The Rokket deck can really maneuver around these boards. So yeah, let's see what Bard does here. And starting with Black Metal Dragon is a really good sign for Bard, because Black Metal Dragon alone is full combo. So any extenders he has just get him to break this board even further.
This is definitely a hard board to crack too, so we'll just have to see how he plays it. Noctivision drops here, which is a very good card.
And Octavision is really massive here. Oh, summon limit, and
Oof.
oh, that's a really, yeah, that really hurts.
I can see why he didn't discard with the barricade board blocker now. Damn.
And that's an instant scoop, and that's just, wow, that summon limit really hurt Bard, and there's just nothing he could do. The Eldlich player just opened full combo and summon limit. You just have to go game 3. Nothing you can do. So now, you like being in Bard's skin, like you know what you're going up against, and what do you think that the Rokket that can even side going first in this matchup?
I mean, well, if you're playing against this deck, I think that it's okay to play like Cosmic Cyclones as a replacement for some of the hand traps you're running. I don't think that you want to go too much on the going first strategy as you're playing a Rocket deck with 60 cards in the combo deck. Even though what you're citing out, you're not. I know the math is right with that, but you're still less likely to see certain side cards, right? Just how it is. So what I would do is I think you should just play it the same way. If you just get off the normal combo, if you hand loop for 2 and put an Appaloosa and a Savage, a Herald, that still should be enough to break whatever he has, especially when you see what your opponent is playing with the smoke grenade, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Just going in with no changes or some small background removal is definitely favorable for Bart here. But we really need to see if the Eldritch Synchro player here has an answer to Bart's combos, because the Rocket deck, as we know, is very resilient to hand traps, and it's just a matter of fact, will the Synchro player open enough hand traps to, stop Bart and just hope that Bart didn't open enough extenders?
So we do see the Phalanx drop here. That doesn't seem like the most optimal play, but it is still a way that he can get into his Striker Dragon.
Yeah, this Phalanx is actually really hurts Bart, because this means that his Dragoon to Divine Lance play is, well, basically dead. It just doesn't exist. And oh, and he seems like he opened Boot Sector Launch as well, and that's really hard. And damn, Bart is really gambling here. I think that maybe even one hand trap can stop him here.
He has to go all in here for nothing. There's no other way for him to sort of play around anything that he's got right now. If he's opened the boot sector launch and the phalanx, really unfortunate.
Yeah, and he just has to go all in at this point. Like, there's just nothing he can do. That's really, really sad for Bart. But yeah, like in 60 cards, you just sometimes you open those one-offs and it's just nothing you can do. It's just those garnets sometimes. And yeah, at this point, like all he has to do is hope that he has enough stuff to play around the other guys' hand traps. And yeah, let's see what Bart can do here.
And the quick launch is just such a strong card too here. So even though he may have drawn the boot sector in his hand, he's still it's totally possible for him to play through a couple of hand traps still here, even with the garnet. We'll just have to see what he has.
Yeah, definitely possible for him to play through stuff if he opened enough extenders because, as you said, quick launch, a very powerful extender. It's not even one monster, it's two monsters when you use the tracer effect. Another very powerful card here would be Chaos Base, getting him to the baby dragons. Those are extremely strong. And oh, seems like Fiber will be resolving here. And not looking that bad for Bart now at this point. Might not be that bad.
Yeah, usually they don't go for the Hulk Firbrax here. Usually they go for the Dragoonity play, but because he drew the Phalanx, it's not as optimal. So he's going for the Fiber play just so that he can go his combo. And here comes the Nibiru. We'll see how this goes.
Now, I honestly think that Nibiru might be a bit too early here. What do you think about that?
We'll have to see what he's drawn, right? Like if he has any sort of extender that can help him push past this, then maybe, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think Gustav is just hoping that Bart just has nothing here, which is possible, but at the same time, I don't really agree with this. And oh, wow, Bart is just going to pass, and that's really sad.
Yeah, I think with the fiber already being gone, it's hard for something like we already confirmed that he has the boot launch in his hand, right? So if he has the boot launch in his hand, um, the only other two cards that would really, really help him here would be, I would say, there's a couple of cards he could have, right? Chaos Space, any Rocket to use off the bootleg. But because there's no more fiber, gaining advantage like that is going to be definitely hard, especially since Romulus doesn't get the free summon. Definitely unfortunate hand.
Yeah, I definitely agree that this was just very unfortunate. And we see the tuning coming down from Gustav, which me and of even the Adlan. It's just going to be so much advantage. If Bart can't stop this, he might even get OTK this turn. But we need to still see how Gustav plays this out. Um, I don't think we're going to see many interruptions from Bart's side, but Bart is definitely someone who's known for not giving up and playing until the end and winning many games just by the factor of not giving up. So let's see what happens here.
And so we're going to see the normal needle fiber synchro plays coming from Gustav over here. We'll see if he goes for the different route of playing under hand traps with the new Herald combo, or if he decides to go for the same combo he went for last time, thinking that it's just as good. I do think that somebody in the chat put out and said that they usually need a to have a Fibrax left to play through a nib in a good way, and I can agree with that. I think that if you use Fibrax early, that's a clear telltale sign that you don't really have a whole lot that you can do when you're playing the Rocket deck.
Yeah, it is for sure something to consider. Um, Definitely well played. But okay, let's see what the Eldlich Synchro player is doing here. I kinda don't agree with this link Karibo. I think I would have much more preferred if he just went straight into Fiber to play around any possible hand traps on to the Fiber by just having Jet and the discard. So I'm not really sure about this play, but let's see what he does here.
I agree with that as well. One of the great things about having a Jet Synchron plus a Nibiru on the field is that you can keep the Jet Synchron in your graveyard. So if he decides that he wants to Nibiru, you can use the Nibiru token and the Golden Lord to make Barricade Board Blocker. Barricade Board Blocker and the Jet Synchron that you haven't used in the graveyard will then be able to make your Auroradon, and you can make it's not going to be quite the same board, but it'll be a very similar board.
Yeah, and this just seems Like he's playing around Nibiru by just pushing for damage, but there were other ways he could have basically accomplished the same thing. Because you know that one card and what? He's just going to pass?
This is
Okay,
very
well,
strange.
that's what? Now, I'm no
So,
expert, but I'm not really I don't really think this is the correct play.
so this isn't how you play around Nibiru. I want you guys to never do this, please. But maybe. Hmm. I don't understand the reasoning behind this. Why would you? Why wouldn't you just commit to the combo at this point?
I mean, maybe he was thinking, oh, well, if I already fucked up with, sorry, if I already messed up with the jet stinker, like, what can I do? And I don't know. I don't agree with that mentality. Like, I just don't agree with these lines of play because if Bart opened playable enough, he can easily break through this board. Like, he could just destroy it so easily. So, yeah, I don't think this was the correct line of play at all to take, but maybe we're missing something, and guess we'll just have to see.
Well, we also know that he did use the boot sector launch, or he did have the boot sector launch, since he didn't activate the Striker Dragon effect. And because he gets the free summon from the graveyard, because this boot sector launch has two effects, it's a monster reborn and it special summons from your hand, he's just going to get back free advantage for free. And without the needle fiber plays to stop him and no interruptions from the Eldlich cards, it's very, very interesting that he would go for play around Nibiru here, especially when the board that he ends on is basically the same thing as Nibiru, right? Like this is essentially the same board.
Yeah, it's literally the same thing. Like it doesn't change anything. I think he just I don't know because now like if the cards in his hand are not hand traps, he's just not doing anything. Like Bart is just going to play. Bart is just going to set up a board, and if this costs him the game, this could be this could feel really really bad.
I mean, maybe he has a second Nibiru and he doesn't want to commit to like synchro board while having the Nibiru up, but I think he would just rather just win, right? And I don't know. Interesting.
Even then, I don't think that's something you should even consider to play like that. I still don't think it's correct. Even if you had a second Nibiru in hand, you should use it as a failsafe trigger. Like if they
Agreed.
do indeed break your board, not as a win condition to just Nibiru again.
Agreed. I think that playing it as your last resort, as in I also have Nibiru, so even if you magically break my board, I still can, come back. That was the more correct play. This also with the face up jet synchron, if he had the Nibiru, you think he just and was playing with the Nibiru, you don't think he would have used the jet synchron because it gets banished, right? Seems like a waste of resources.
Yeah, seems like a waste of resources to me as well. I just don't know what happened here. And oh, and here comes the Levianeer, and now he might really get punished because if this Levianeer snipes the second Nibiru in hand, if that really is the case, that could just be full devastating.
Agreed.
So let's see what happens here, and if Bart can even continue to play from this point with the last card in his hand. Maybe it's like a if it's a black dragon, I think he possibly just wins.
Mm. Not just that, but I mean, I think a quick launch could probably put him in the game as well. I think you can still do guard dragon plays with that. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, either like a quick launch or white or a black dragon. But yeah, we'll just have to see. And Bart definitely seems to be taking his time here, making sure not to misplay. And yeah, I think he'll definitely execute well here. So let's see what he does here. So he does seem to be thinking about the situation. And oh, damn, he just doesn't have anything. And yeah, that'll be the game. And thank you everyone for watching this game. We'll try to find another match for you, and we'll be right back.